Let's be real for a second. Have you ever been part of an AI automation project that just kind of fell flat? It was supposed to be this amazing game changer, but in the end, something just felt off. Well, what if I told you the secret to incredible AI isn't just about having the fanciest tech, it's about understanding the actual work you're trying to automate. And that understanding? Well, it starts with a surprisingly simple idea.
I absolutely love this quote from Don Berwick. It's such a powerful and honestly a kind of uncomfortable truth, right? It means that whatever results you're seeing, good, bad, or ugly, they aren't an accident. They are the direct output of the system you've built. No magic, no mystery. The design is doing exactly what it was designed to do.
And that right there, that's the big question, isn't it? If your AI isn't hitting the mark, we've got to stop pointing fingers at the technology and start looking in the mirror, at the design. The problem isn't some random glitch. It's a flaw in the actual blueprint we gave the AI. And that flawed blueprint is exactly what we're going to fix today with something called process mapping.
Think about it this way. You would never, ever try to build a house without a detailed blueprint. It would be chaos. Well, building an AI automation is no different. We need that process map. It's the foundational step that makes sure we're building the right thing in the right way from the very beginning.
So first up, let's just get on the same page. What even is a process? It's just a word for how work gets done. It's taking some kind of input, say a customer email or some raw data, and through a series of steps, turning it into an output, like a solved problem or a finished report. Honestly, from making your morning coffee to closing a huge deal, pretty much everything is a process. So if that's a process, then process mapping is just the act of making that work visible. It's literally drawing a picture of those steps. We're taking all those unspoken rules and dense documents and turning them into a clear, visual diagram that anybody can understand just by looking at it.
This quote from Gene Nelson just hits the nail on the head. You wouldn't want a surgeon operating on you if they didn't know anatomy, right? Of course not. So why on earth would we try to operate on a business process with AI without knowing every single step? Trying to automate a process you haven't mapped is like doing surgery with a blindfold on. You're way more likely to break something than to fix it.
So what's the real payoff here? Why do we do this? Well, mapping basically gives you superpowers. It makes all that invisible shadow work people do totally visible. It puts a giant spotlight on the bottlenecks, that report that always sits in someone's inbox for hours. And it points out the wasteful steps that are just begging to be handed over to an AI agent. It makes it crystal clear who does what, which is absolutely crucial when you're trying to plug an AI into a human workflow. And maybe the most important part, it gets everyone on the team speaking the same language, looking at the same picture before you write a single line of code.
Okay, so you're on board. We need to map, but how? Well, there's not just one way to do it. The best way to think about it is like a toolkit. You wouldn't use a hammer to cut a piece of wood, right? Different maps are like different tools or different lenses, each designed to give you a very specific view of your workflow. So let's open up this toolkit and check out 3 of the most essential maps for any AI project.
First up, we've got the classic, the OG, the one you probably remember from school, the simple flowchart. This is your high-level, 30,000-foot view. It's absolutely perfect for getting a quick, big-picture snapshot of the main steps in a process.
And the language here is super simple, but it's universal. Ovals are your starting and ending points. The boxes, or rectangles, are the actual work getting done, the to-do list, basically. Diamonds, these are your forks in the road, the critical yes or no decision points. And of course, the arrows just show you which way to go. Simple, right? But incredibly powerful.
But what happens when your process isn't so simple? What if it involves a bunch of different people, or different departments, or different systems? A basic flowchart can get really messy really fast. That's where you pull out the Swimlane diagram. This is the map that answers that all-important question, who does what? The real power of a swimlane diagram is how it's organized. Think of a swimming pool. The process moves forward in time, but the steps happen in different lanes. Each lane belongs to a different person, or team, or even an AI agent. And here's the magic. You can clearly see every single time the work has to cross a lane. That's a handoff. And handoffs are where delays, miscommunications, and errors love to hide. That's the spot where an AI can be a total game changer.
All right, last tool for today. Sometimes, before you even start drawing boxes and arrows, you need to zoom out even further just to make sure everyone agrees on the boundaries of the project. For that, we use something called a SIPOC map. It's a fantastic tool to use right at the kickoff of a new automation project.
SIPOC is just an acronym that helps you define the 5 most important parts of any process. Who are the suppliers that provide the inputs for the process, which then creates the outputs for the customers? It sounds simple, but filling this out as a team makes sure you haven't forgotten a key stakeholder or a critical piece of data before you get lost in the weeds.
So you've got your toolkit, you've got flowcharts, swimlines, and SIPOCs. But, just having the tools is only half the battle. The real skill is knowing exactly which tool to pull out for which job. So let's make this super practical.
Here you go, your very own cheat sheet for AI automation mapping. Keep it simple. If you've got a straightforward linear task happening inside one team, a flowchart is your go-to. If things are getting complicated, with lots of handoffs between people, systems, and your new AI agent, you absolutely need a Swimlane diagram. And if you're standing at the starting line of a brand new project, use a SIPOC map to get everyone to agree on what's in and what's out.
Now, knowing about the tools is one thing, but actually being able to use them is what really matters. And the good news here is you do not need some fancy degree or expensive certification to get started. This is a skill you build by doing.
Here's a super simple plan to get you going. Step 1, just watch. Seriously, pick a process and just observe it, no judgment. Step 2, use simple tools. I'm talking Post-it notes on a whiteboard. They're amazing because you can easily move things around. Step 3, and this is so important, map the process as it is today, not how you wish it was. Get the messy reality down on paper. And finally, Step 4, show it to people. Your first draft will have mistakes, and that's the whole point. Getting feedback isn't criticism, it's collaboration. It's how you turn that rough sketch into the perfect blueprint.
If you only remember one thing from all of this, please let it be this. A process map isn't just some boring documentation you do at the end. It's not a nice-to-have, it is the solid foundation that every single successful AI automation is built on. So, I'll leave you with a question. Think about your own day-to-day work. Think about those repetitive tasks, the annoying delays, the things that make you sit back and say, there has to be a better way. What's that one inefficient process that you're going to map out first?